Those who are our students from the Meru University of Science and Technology performing a mild dance to kick off our afternoon session, day 2 of our entrepreneurship week. Our sub-theme to be presented, one of them is commercialization, strategies and challenges. The other one is the future of education, how technology is shaping learning in Kenya. The other one is youth entrepreneurship, turning ideas into impactful businesses to achieve Kenya's Vision 2030. IP, data protection and privacy considerations, or other sub-themes to be presented. Sub-themes, market linkages, business development, market entry readiness, and funding opportunities. Remember, our partners for the program are Safaricom, Young Scientist Kenya, Huawei, and also 3 Steers Hotel. The Safaricom team, led by all team members around, Naisenya Mungai, Tech Lead Digital Transformation, Felix Munene, Technical T&B Lead Consumer, Patrick Bachok, Agile Delivery, Digital Engineering, Mark Waihenya, Research, Design and Innovation, Berry Chemkemoi, Software Developer in Test, Muchami Ngodo, Software Engineer, Nixon Kipkorir, DevSecOps Engineer, Tim Owen, Mobile Engineer, Brian Tano, DevOps Engineer, Millicent Alali, Brad Lead, Safaricom PLC, John Pius, PR, Public Relation, Charles Karori, Public Relations Safaricom, Polycarp Caro, Quality Engineering Lead. Our 2024 theme is innovation and commercialization for transformation and impact in society.
Communication group here. Is there a way in which you can come up with something that you can use to communicate in a way that it has never been done? That is innovation for you. And so for my students, almost 13,000 of you right now, it is an opportunity for you to walk in all the booths meditatingly. Hello guys, meditatingly that what is it? What is this guy doing? And then you can ask, how did this idea come to you? And then you try to personalize this. In my place where I'm studying, perhaps chemistry, do I have any idea of research that can lead me to some innovative product that can be mine? So this is a very important week for us.
And the next week, starting 23rd to 25th of September, we have what we call MASTU. MASTU is Meru University of Science and Technology Innovation and Exhibition Week, MASTU, where innovators will be exhibiting their innovations in terms of student staff. We have invited other universities to come and exhibit. So far, Chuka University is confirmed, Daraka University, and a host of other universities, including Dedan Kimathi University. So, other than universities, we have also invited technical training institutes like Meru National Polytechnic, Karumo TTI, and also high schools through an umbrella called Young Students, Young Scientists in High School. We have invited over 23 schools, high school to come. We like innovations being driven by students, together with their supervisors who are the students, and I mean the lecturers. And we have innovations like the one through a program called CNET, which has come out with adaptive technology for students who are either physically challenged, like they don't have limbs. They can use their forehead in manipulating a computer. And this is an innovation which has been supported by the National Research Fund. We are doing piloting, and we would like to roll it out to the schools with students with disabilities. We also have other innovations driven by staff and students. Like we have an Institute of Cement and Concrete here, headed by Dr. Marango Miti, where we are coming up with innovative cement, which is eco-friendly. It doesn't use clinker, and it does not pollute our environment, especially with the issue of climate change in this country. And it is a project that is international. We are collaborating with universities from India, from Switzerland, from Italy, and we're having a center for technology transfer in cement industry for Africa, based here in Meru University of Science and Technology.
Attendees will have the opportunity to delve into innovative projects across various fields, including engineering, agriculture, healthcare, and information technology. Participate in engaging workshops, thought-provoking panel discussions, and invaluable networking opportunities designed for both students and professionals. Local entrepreneurs will also display their creative solutions to real-world challenges through interactive exhibitions and live demonstrations. Whether you're a student eager to learn, an innovator seeking inspiration, or simply curious about the latest technological advancement, this enriching event is free and open to everyone. Join us at Meru University and be part of shaping a brighter future through innovation.
In the next 2 minutes, we should be having Wakili talking to us.
Meru University of Science and Technology, Foundation of Innovations.
About patenting. Dr. Chege.
Thank you, Dr. Amara. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again for another session on IP, data protection and commercialization. And I want to request our ushers who are around to please help us arrange these chairs. Mr. Fred is going to do a presentation, and then after that, we are going to get into a brief panel discussion on data protection and security and issues to do with commercialization. So welcome, and be ready to learn, and be ready with your questions. In case there are any questions that you needed to ask, you can ask our presenter. This is a good opportunity for those who are doing startups, those who are thinking of starting up businesses, and those who have very brilliant ideas and wish to protect their ideas. So I'll also request, if we have exhibitors out there, maybe if your team has more than one person, you could leave one exhibitor at the exhibition booth, and the rest should be able to join us here during this session. So I want to bring to you Mr. Fred Otswongo. I hope I said it correctly. He is our Technology Transfer Officer at the Research, Innovation, Commercialization and Extension Directorate, in charge of ensuring that whatever you've invented or innovated is protected. And as a university, we're opening up these opportunities even to other institutions that are neighboring us, universities, TVETs, high schools. If you have any ideas that you've come up with, if you've innovated something, if you need to register your trademark, your patent, your industrial design, we have all the facilities ready here to enable us be able to guide you through how to protect it, how to fill up the forms, and how to submit to Kenya Institute, the KIPI, and also be able to protect your idea both locally and even regionally or globally, if you wish. So I want to request all of us to put our hands together as I bring to you Fred Otswongo. Karibu sana. You can use this. You can use this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Daktari. Maybe slide number 1. Yeah. Let me congratulate you and thank you for waiting this long. I think this is the most important topic that we are going to share today. My name is Fred Otswongo. I know my parents also invented the name Otswongo because the Otswongo we know is normally N from Kisi, but you can see this is crafted with a T, S, W-O-N-G-O. If I had not pronounced it, I think most of you would have pronounced differently. People call me Otswanga, Otswanga, Otwanga. They remove S. Some of them remove T. But that's my name. I'm basically a patent attorney. I'm a patent lawyer. But before I became a patent lawyer, I was a biochemist. So I had to do law in intellectual property. And by next year, I think I'll have finished my Kenya School of Law. So I'll be able to go to courts and also make noise about intellectual property rights. So a patent attorney or a patent lawyer is like an agent for any other business that we know of. But his work is to propagate the rights of innovators. So you remember the human rights, it ends with the word rights. So this one also ends with the word rights, but it's rights of the intellect. So next slide. Today we are briefly going to, let me do it myself from here. Sorry. Yeah, I've been tasked with the topic of sharing with you how can we commercialize the innovations we have. And it's very easy for those of you who do not know what innovation is. Innovations are new products that are coming into the market that were not there before. So it could be a product, a service, or a process. So long as it's new and it has come out of your mind. So initially, innovation is intangible. You cannot see it, and yet it's a property. So for us to do that, we need to make money out of that. So for today, we know that the innovation, because it's in the head, it's very difficult to get out of it. So we rely on the innovator, the goodwill of innovators. So I want to define intellectual property rights as the rights of the intellect. It's the rights coming out of the human mind. But remember, we are not the only animals with a mind, isn't it? The rights coming out of the monkeys is also their intellectual property. Unfortunately, we were selfish when we were setting up the laws and the rules to protect the rights of human intellect. We refer to the human beings only. So if a leopard or a monkey came up with a very good idea that can solve our problem, we cannot protect that idea for them, so we ignore them. But if you are a human being and you have a new idea and it is really good, it is helping the human development, we have a system that will protect you. So this system is in different forms. TM means trademark, ID means industrial design, patent you can see it down here, and then C means copyright. So by definition, it's a property of the mind, just like land and a vehicle. Now, to confirm that the vehicle is yours, what do we use? We use logbook, isn't it? To confirm that the land is yours, we use title deed, isn't it? To confirm that the lady you are staying with in the house is your wife, we use what? Marriage certificate. So those are the certificates that government gives people to guarantee or to allow them to own the property. Now, for intellectual property, they give you what we call patents, copyright, and trademarks. So in short, all of us have intellectual property assets in the head. Something like a resource, something you can use. So you can walk around and tell people, you know what, I have this idea of how to make a good chair, have this idea of how to make an app and all that. But unless you protect it, you don't have any rights over the property you are talking about. So you need to move from IP to IPR. If you don't have IPR on what you're trying to tell us, then that's not yours. I can go there and take video and go and protect it in my name. So I want us to live here knowing that whatever we have, especially those who are exhibiting, ensure that you have rights over those property or assets or innovation that you have. Because with the rights, then you can license it, you can do whatever you want. So what are these rights? So the rights are divided into different components because human beings come up with new ideas in different forms. Some bring very nice music to solve our social stress, and therefore they need protection. But the way you protect music is not the same way you protect a technical device like a vehicle or a drug. So if you've come up with something artistic, something that you can perform, for example, music or dancing style like what we've seen here, then you need to protect it under copyright. You use the copyright regime here. Anything that can be copied. For example, you have a book which can be photocopied, then you use the system called copyright. Now, if you came up with a new name, unlike the names we have on the bottles or drinking water, or the logo for our event, must view, that is a logo. Now, the main aim of logos are to identify the owner with the product, so that people are happy in the market to say, come on, I'm going to buy Omo. And you are going to buy Omo because you trust the company that makes Omo. I'm going to M-Pesa. I'm going to transfer my money using M-Pesa. Now, the word M-Pesa is a logo, so it's a trademark of Safaricom. But it will take a lot of time to say, I'm going to transfer money. People will say, which money, which firm are you going to use? So we use trademarks to identify products with ourselves, the owners. And that is a system of intellectual property rights, which is given a certificate by government. Now, if you have come up with a solution to a technical problem is any problem that is affecting human beings, including the chairs we are sitting on. If there were no chairs, we'll be sitting down. So we'll have a problem of maybe becoming dirty or tired. So whoever innovated a chair was given a patent. That's why you can see we use a patent regime to protect any solution to technical problems. Now, the exhibitors out there, all of them, majority are trying to solve a technical problem. So they are having innovations. Now, for those innovations to be protected, for them to protect, to ensure that they are theirs and nobody will take them away, they require a patent certificate on each. So it is one idea, one patent. So you realize that most people who don't use patent system fail because they have exposed their innovations. And that's why we are propagating on patenting the ideas. Now, if you have data, in the morning I think we talked about data set, and you have compiled your data and you need to protect it. We have a law in Kenya called Data Protection Act, and that's where you go, and then there are regulations, there are rules on how to protect your data. For example, every time somebody mines your data for commercial use, they need to notify you. You need to give a consent. If you find them using data anyhowly, then there is a fine of 5 million, or you go to jail for 6 months. So that's why you see today, those who use Facebook are very careful. They don't want to infringe on other people's data. Now, there are those who prefer to keep quiet. You have an innovation, yes, but you don't want to disclose to government to get a certificate. So there you're using the system called trade secret. Like the Coca-Cola now, the formula is not shared by any government body. They don't need any certificate. But they believe by keeping quiet, they will be able to remain in the market for long. So you could decide with your formulation to keep quiet, so you keep it secret to yourself. If you're making mandasi, for example, you can do the formulation at night when nobody is seeing it, and then you give the technician in the morning to mix. So they just mix with water. So trade secret, very important. It is the opposite of the patent regime. Now, if you have a company and you have a website, you need what we call domain names. Like now here, I think we have at most, not most, you say we don't pronounce most, must, because most is double M, the one in the Western. If you have must.ac.ke, that is called a domain name. You need to protect that name, otherwise then there will be another person or another university somewhere using the same domain name. When you go to open your website, you will be denied. So you'll not have access. So the way we protect domain names is we use trademarks. So you make sure the first part of your domain name is trademarked. So those are the options we have. You need to keep them in mind. The trade secret is twice for some good reasons. There is serious trade secrets here read, and there are trade secrets of jokers. Those who say, me, I'm not going to share with you. But then the way you are making it is so easy. Even if I stand there, I'll say, oh, so it's A plus B, and then you arrive at it. So that's about intellectual property rights, briefly. I don't know whether I can give room, just one or two clarification or question, because now moving to the challenges of commercialization and the strategies the university is using. Is it very clear?
Anybody with a question,
Yeah.
raise up your hand. You get the mic. So far? Maybe they are okay.
Okay, good. So you can go back. Yeah, so what I've said in short is that for you to be sure that now you are in the market, you need more than those types of intellectual property rights. You need a patent, a trademark, a design on your container, and then you need some type of trade secret, and then eventually you need a copyright for your website. So let me briefly look at the strategies the university has used to commercialize their innovations. I know we've come a long way with very few innovations to 29, I think it was mentioned in the morning. So it is very difficult to commercialize innovations in the university, but there is a way the university has put in some structures to ensure that that is done. You will all agree with me that the universities have a lot of knowledge, that was said in the morning. You also agree with me that university is a hub for R&D. Everybody is looking at Meru University of Science and Technology. What have they come up with? Every year they want to see what are the researchers coming up with. And that's why we have so many there. So that is a grade. But it is very hard to commercialize those innovations because of so many challenges that universities face. And because of that, there are some rules that have been put in place here. Besides setting up the structure that we saw in the morning, where there is RISE, and within RISE, there are so many departments, all of them contributing to how to make money from the innovation, the commercialization bit. You saw there is a TTO office now which have been established. So the rules we have here are that you must go through all the 8 steps for us to be sure that now your idea or your innovation will bring money. If you skipped one of them, it will be very difficult for us to help you much. So first you do research, then from research you come up with an innovation or invention. You need to disclose to somebody. If it's not your head of department, it should be the office. They look at it to see whether is it really new or he has copied it or Xerox from somewhere else. Now, after that, is subjected to assessment. Assessment is a lot of research. We do what we call patent search to make sure that nobody else has done that before anywhere in the world. Step 3. Then we do patent protection. So we prepare the patent documents for you. We file and then follow it up until you get certificate. Now, once we have filed, we go to step 5 to look for people who can buy the idea. So we call that part potential licensees. And once they are on board, we start negotiating for commercialization. So it's stepwise. And this could take a month, could take a year, could take 2 years. But if you went through them systematically, then you can end up step 7 where you have licensed your idea. Now, when you license your idea, it's like leasing out. It's like landlord giving you a house to live in. So you are the landlord because you are the owner of the patent rights. You give it to a factory or an industry to manufacture the product for you. And every year they'll be giving you a percentage. So you keep the certificate with you and you enjoy the fruits of commercialization, number 8. So the reason is to make extra money for the university. The reason we commercialize is to ensure that you yourself also make some money. The other reason is to have goodwill for the university. You know, the universities that have patents, that have licensed technologies, have very good reputation. So every industry will wish to say, oh, come on, Meru University have Innovation Week, let me go there. Because they have good reputation in technology. So you create some goodwill by going through the licensing system that we saw. Number 4 is you keep it as an asset that you can use to acquire a loan, an asset that you can use to sell later on and raise capital to run the university, or capital to make yourself rich. And that's why you saw the owner of Facebook, the owner of Google. They use patent system to make sure that they monopolize the market. So One type of commercialization, I'll run you through this, is licensing of IP. And you can license any of those 4. So you can get a license on copyright, you can get a license on a trademark, you can license your patent to somebody. Strangely, you can also license your know-how. The inner secret of how to actually do the product, especially those who are in food industry. You can hide some formulation there. We know very well that Safaricom, the M-Pesa transfer, doesn't have a patent in Kenya, but they are using trade secret to ensure that nobody gets hold of the system, the way it works, the app, the way it is coded, and they keep revising it. So in one way or the other, their know-how can be licensed to other people through confidentiality agreements. What are the strategies we have? Remember the first map. Those of you who can remember, you can also remember this. You may take a photo of this if you are an innovator. So you have several options on how to make money out of your innovation. Let's say you have a patent. What do you do with the patent? Do you keep it in the house or do you make money out of it? So for you to commercialize, you have various options. One is to license out. Licensing here will refer to what I had said, leasing out. So you keep the certificate, but you wait for the money to come to your account every year or every month. Alternatively, you can do what we call startups. You can say, come on, this idea is mine, and I think people don't like it. They are making it cheap. So you establish your own company. So you go, you register your company, you choose a nice name, you get a PIN for it, bank account for it, and then you do a website for it. Then you start advertising your products. So for you to do a startup, it's like a new industry, something that was not there before. So it has got pros and cons. Very expensive. You need to have very rich angel investors to just keep supporting you until you grow. In today's world, most people are going into this joint venture, the collaboration down here, where you have the idea and the other guy has money or has got a factory to manufacture. So you can say we have this product here and I'm giving you 50%. So it's 50-50 or 20-80. So you do a joint venture and through that you start making money throughout. So joint venture will vary on the percentage you are giving out. In most cases, people do a startup. You register the company, then you put shares. So you invite people to join you by buying shares from your company. So joint venture is a very good move. The next one is called assignment, down here. Now, assignment is like selling the whole idea to somebody. And it's very common in the US for the professors, the dons, those who are good in the innovation in the laboratory and they want to remain there. They don't want to go to the market to start a company. So they sell the whole idea, a few millions, and then they keep off. They start developing another idea. So assignment will restrict you from further development in that field because it's like you have sold your clothes and the chances are that you'll never wear the same clothes again because if this guy liked blue t-shirt, you've sold it to him, chances are he's going to restrict you not to buy another blue and put on so that in the market he's the only one with blue. But it's a good way of making money, one-off. Now, confidentiality agreement is one way. You remember I said trade secrets? So if you keep quiet, then you make sure you sign agreements with your employees, with your colleagues, and all that until you finish. So these are the options we have. I'm sure you have gotten them properly because we shall be referring to them throughout our innovation period. This is just to show you that the legal terminologies we have is that the licensor is you, the one giving out the knowledge. The licensee is the industry, the one receiving the knowledge. And you can patent anything. I've mentioned there even plants, electronics. So whatever you have, you can get a patent on it. But you cannot get a patent on what got created. So don't come to us with a plant, then you say, I want to patent it. Those who are in molecular biology, plasmid probes, you cannot patent that the way they are. And therefore, those are those types of licensing. I think I have next slide that was showing. Yeah. I've also now broken down types of licensing so that when you are negotiating, you should not be fooled. The licensing agreement has also various subtypes, and you need to choose cleverly which one do you want to survive with. So this map is also another very important slide. Cross-licensing is like, I have a patent and you have a patent on different products. I have a patent on the product, you have a patent on the process of making a better product. So we cross-license. And then we say whatever comes out, we share, maybe 50-50. Exclusive license is what is very popular. And I think in the morning, you were told we are in negotiation with an international firm. We are stuck here because they want exclusive. They want exclusive and we want non-exclusive. Now, exclusive means you are licensing one person, the whole world or whichever territory you are doing, and nobody else will be licensed again. Because you see, you can give monopoly to somebody who is lazy and does not push the products to the market. So you'll keep waiting for your royalty and it will never come. So you as the owner, you need to give out non-exclusive so that you are allowed to give as many people as possible. And the person receiving wants to be the only one. So the most popular licensing agreement is called exclusive, which gives rights to the manufacturer to monopolize the market the way he wants. Non-exclusive gives rights to the owner to keep trying other people. So those two are very important. The other type of licensing is called sole licensing, where you are given out to somebody, but you have also some limited rights to sell the same products in the market. If you are making yogurt, if you have formulated yogurt, you give him the rights to sell yogurt in the market, but you also have your own yogurt you are selling maybe within your locality. So it's called sole licensing. Now, perpetual is like the idea is not very good. You are bored with it. You've been on it for long. So you want to license once for a very long time, continuously. You say, okay, just give me some money, and I will not limit you like how many years. You'll use it as long as you wish. So that's called perpetual licensing. So that's what we do usually. You have to negotiate cleverly. And negotiation is a bit tough because the CEO of the company will want to be there. And the inventor will also want to be there. The production manager of that company you are selling to will want to be there. Now, if you are a simple innovator here, you have no idea on how they produce the devices, you need to be very careful because you will accompany your boss. For example, if you are the innovator, you are likely to accompany the VC and the lawyer of the university. And you are three, and the other guys are also three. So while you are trying to argue that your idea is very good, because of that you want 100 million. Then they are trying to poke holes into your idea to make you feel like you are too small. So they say, no, this idea I know where you have copied. I can show you, so we can only give you 2 million. If you don't want, you go away. So those are just scare, the threats. The fact that they have invited you to sit on the table, your idea is very important. So you don't give up. So you can keep negotiating even if it takes 3-4 weeks until you reach there. So on daily basis, the issue is that discover technology, contact the buyer, negotiate, sign agreement, and then complete the signature. If it fails, you go back until you succeed. So you don't give up once and say, oh, I was here and they undermined me, so you give up. They have already gotten part of your idea. So if you go up, then you go away, you are likely to lose even more. So those are the advantages. If you are a licensor, like the university, you just sit back as the other guy distributes the products. You only give him a call towards the end of the year. How much pieces have you sold? How many pieces or how much money have you made? Then he'll tell you, we have sold 200 million, and your percentage is 10%. So expect 20 million, isn't it? Yeah, 20 million. So it helps the licensor to relax. And then there are so many other advantages there of sharing the expertise. How about the industry? The industry gets access to the best technology of the university. You know them, they are busy. They wake up and they start producing products in the morning. So they don't have time to innovate. So they'll have a chance of accessing your best technology and make use of it to improve their products. There are disadvantages, however. One, the university will lose control over its intellectual property. You see, you have already given out your patent file to somebody, so you have no maximum, or you have minimal control over what was in the innovation. He has the formula, he has everything, but of course on goodwill. But if anything happened between, you have lost your intellectual property. How about him? He has a burden of production, marketing, selling on behalf of the university. So while the university is sleeping and relaxing, him is struggling with vehicles, accidents, with the police, trying to push the products in the market. So he's disadvantaged to some extent. So it's give and take, but it works out very well. And it's because of that we are where we are. We have computers, we have internet, and all that. So as I sum up, for the challenges I've just summarized on one slide, that whereas the university is the hub for innovations, there are so many challenges to our offices. And most of you know, but I'm not accusing the university, but this is any public university in developing world will face this. One, there is a lot of bureaucracy. So even if you called for a meeting, you'll have to do a letter, an email, and a memo, and somebody heading the department must be present or chair or something like that. So because of bureaucracy, the industry can easily take off. You say, no, we are tired of this. We can work with somebody else. Number two, the university doesn't have enough resources. So even if you have the innovation there, don't expect too much from the university in terms of money. That university will give me 4 million, I develop my prototype. It's a bit difficult because university depends on government money, and therefore they are restrained to do a proper commercialization. Number three is debatable, but I think the staff who are here maybe can bear me witness that there are some misaligned incentives to the staff researchers. Incentives are given to those who publish and teach very well. If you can teach, you are teaching 800 students, you are much better than a researcher who has come up with a yogurt in the lab. So the one who is teaching and coming up with research is more rewarded than you as an inventor. Number four, the intellectual property issues are complex. Even how to identify that the idea is new is very difficult. Now, how to draft in such a way that the claims do not clash with other people, those who have been in the field before, is a bit complex. Number five is that most public universities, they do what we call risk aversion. They avoid taking risk. And innovators are very unfortunate because you're coming up with something new in the market. Nobody knows how it works. nobody knows how much it will cost. Like M-Pesa, you can imagine M-Pesa before it became the really M-Pesa product. I'm sure there were so many doubting Thomases, and he said, forget, this will not work. How can you transfer money virtually on phone? Suppose the one of the phone takes off and all that. So the university is very careful, and because of that, they lose out. Because the people who survive in this world are risk takers. The more the risk, the better you are. So the higher the risk you take, the richer you become. Or the poorer you become once. But if you are a risk taker, you will take another risk and again climb over. So number 6, there is a lot of lack of industry connections. The university does not have enough time to connect with various industries because of lack of time and all that, and resources. So because of these 6 challenges, it has been a bit difficult for university to come up with a big product or a product that you can see in the market and say, this product is from Meru University of Science and Technology. So despite all those, university has put in place policies, structures to make sure that it works out. So up to that point, I would like to thank everybody, including Daktari, for giving me this opportunity to share with you commercialization challenges and strategies that are in place. Thank you.
Big hand for Wakili. He has done a good job. Tumpigie makofi mazuri. That's a good job. Well presented. Microbiologist to Wakili, to a very good teacher. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Amara, and thank you so much, Wakili Fred, for such an insightful presentation. We're now getting into a moment of panel discussion. And at this point, I want to invite Wakili to the podium. You can choose where to sit so that we get into a session of questions and answers, just to interact with Fred. And also, I also want to invite Mark Waihenya from Safaricom. And Sabrina, I was reading your name on my phone. All right. I also, if we have our ushers, please bring me Alfred from ISA Bio. Also, he should be able to join us. I think I need to, who is going to help me out here? He's in one of the exhibition booths out there. We also want him around because he's really done some good commercialization to understand the bit of commercialization. Just go. All right, so maybe as we wait for the 4th panelist, we'll request our friends to introduce themselves. Maybe we'll start with the lady.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Perfect. My name is Sabrina. I'm a cybersecurity engineer at Safaricom. And aside from that, I also lead our Women in Technology pillar. Yeah, that's me.
Clap for Sabrina. Changamkeni bana. All right. It looks like I will call our MC for an energizer, maybe. But let's first finish the introduction bit. Mukiclap vizuri nitawaruhusu muendelee kuketi. Mark?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Mark Waihenya from Safaricom. I lead innovation programs with the research, design, and innovation as part of technology in Safaricom. Happy to be here.
A clap for Mark. The other panelist should be joining us briefly. I know he was showcasing out there, but as soon as he comes in, I'll give him a chance to introduce himself. Wakili.
Okay. Good afternoon again. Yeah, my name is Frederick Omkubi Otswango. I'm the University Technology Transfer Officer and a practicing patent attorney, as you've heard. Thank you.
A round of applause for Wakili. So allow me to sit so that I can grill them a bit. So I'll introduce myself as well. My name is Dr. Amos Chege, and I think I've been here some other time. At the university, I serve in two sections. I am in the School of Computing and Informatics as a lecturer in the Department of Computer Science. At the same time, I work at the Directorate of Research with the main aim of helping our staff, students and faculty, and also our stakeholders in how to initiate their innovative ideas and convert them into products and create solutions out of their innovative minds. And those who are doing lots and lots of research, we try to push them beyond, just writing a research document and giving to the library. But now we go ahead to an extra step of protecting what you've done and then creating money out of it. Yes, Alfred is walking in. You can clap for him. So please, Alfred, come straight to the seat here. So these are a team of brilliant guys from the way they've introduced themselves. We've just had a presentation from Wakili on IP, commercialization. Alfred, you can have your seat. And please tell us about yourself.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Alfred Say. I'm a traditional healer and a wisdom keeper. I have a company called Arce Bio. I'm a young entrepreneur, so I deal with natural remedies or indigenous herbs. So we are based in Nairobi, but mostly I work with the women group from Marsabit, Rendile community, Gabra, Borana, and also Samburu. So we are based in CBD in Nairobi. We have two shops, one in Sanlam building along Standard Street and another one along Gong Road, Greenhouse Mall.
A clap for Alfred. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this panel. In a short time, we just want to interact with you, especially based on your background in expertise and professional background, to see what we can learn from you. And I think Wakili has really taken us through on intellectual property. And I'll first begin with our colleagues from Safaricom, so that then we will get back to Wakili to take us through issues to do with patenting. And as they always say, ladies first, I think I'll start with Sabrina on issues related to data protection. And my question to you is, how can businesses ensure they comply with data protection laws in Kenya?
Okay, hi guys again. Meboeka. Anyway, who is aware of the Data Protection Act of Kenya? Anyone? Just raise your hand. Data Protection Act. One person. Just raise your hand with confidence. Anyway, so in my current role, I do a lot of, or rather, a lot around data privacy because I work in cybersecurity. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to data privacy from a cybersecurity perspective and how you can be able to leverage on cybersecurity to, comply to the Data Protection Act. So in terms of how businesses can be able to comply to the Data Protection Act, I would say number one is to think around, because the Data Protection Act has some technical aspects to it, but then it also has some non-technical aspects to it that businesses really need to think about as they are building whatever they're building. So to start with the non-technical aspects of it is, if a business is building something, they really need to think about the data they're collecting. So the Data Protection Act specifies there's personally identifiable information and then there's sensitive information. Does anyone know the difference between the two? PII, so I'll just refer to it as PII moving forward, and then there's sensitive information. Anyway, so for the sake of time, personally identifiable information basically means that information that can uniquely identify you. So like your ID number is very unique to you. So if someone gets a hold of your ID number, they'll basically know this is Mark and Mark alone and no one else. But sensitive information is like gender, like your gender, are you female or male, or your religion or your sex or your political affiliation. So as businesses are, building their solutions and everything, they really need to think about the purpose of the data they're collecting so that they don't find themselves in a situation where they are collecting data that they do not need to be collecting in the first place. So if I need your ID number and your phone number to provide you with a service, there's no need for me to start, asking you what's your gender, or do you support Ruto, or do you support Raila, and things like that. The next thing they need to do is consent. So you need to collect consent from your customers. Most businesses do it through their terms and conditions, or their data privacy terms and conditions, where they basically outline, and then users just tick a box, I agree. Has anyone ever read what they tick when you're using something and then you see data privacy something and then you just tick hapo chini? Kuna mtu amewahi bother kusoma? Anyone? Oh, so you're the gang for just ticking. Just tick the box. Anyway, that's how businesses collect consent. The other thing they need to think about in order to comply is the data storage and the data retention and data transfer. Those are two very different things. Yeah, so there's data storage and then there's data transfer. So when you're thinking about how you're going to store that data, think about how long you really need to store that data, and now what happens after that time has elapsed. For example, for our organization, there's data that we store for up to 7 years, and then after the 7 years has passed, we'll either archive that data or we'll either delete that data. And then in terms of data storage again, while you're storing that data before the time expires, you need to think about how exactly you're storing it. So are you storing it in clear text format in such a way that if a person was to maybe get a hold of your database, would they be able to find information belonging to customers? Or are you storing it in an encrypted format or in a format that is masked? And then in terms of data transfer, basically using some very technical methods, for example, encrypting your data while it is in transit. And then the other thing they need to think about in order to comply is the trans-border transfer of data. Our Data Protection Act is very, I wouldn't say it's very clear, but it outlines some regulations around trans-border transfer of data. So basically what it says is, before you transfer any data outside of Kenya, if you trust the security of where that data is going to be stored, then you don't need to tell your users, now I'm taking your data and storing it outside the country. But if you feel like whatever platform you're using, okay, let me just use an example. For example, we know about the cloud environments, right? We know about AWS, Azure. We know that, right? Are you guys bored? Hamnijibu? Am I talking to myself? Anyway, so we all know about the cloud environments, right? Yeah. So for example, like AWS, we don't have an AWS region in Kenya. So for example, for organization, we use an AWS region that is in Europe. So that basically means we are storing the data outside of Kenya. Like there's some data we are storing outside of Kenya. But for us, what we're supposed to do as a business is we sit down and we decide, okay, for where we are taking this data, are we confident of the security measures that we have put, right? So if you are confident, you don't need to tell users, sasa data yako inakwanga uko Europe, But now if, I don't know, maybe you're storing data in Iran or something, not to be biased, but let's use maybe Iran as an example. If you're not confident about where that data is, then you need to now tell users where the data is going to be stored and basically collect consent. So those are some of the non-technical things that businesses can do. As with regards to the technical side, it's mostly around the cybersecurity bit in terms of, like I mentioned, encryption of data or masking of data or anonymization of data or hashing of data. Those are 4 different things. It depends on what you're using your data for, and if you would want to reverse your data or if you don't want to reverse your data. The other thing is things around authentication, things around authorization, conducting regular cybersecurity audits, just to make sure that from a security perspective, you are covered. Yeah, so.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. I want to direct the next question to Mark Waihenya. How can Kenyan businesses develop effective commercialization strategies for emerging technologies?
Thank you so much for that question, Dr. Amos. So to develop effective strategies means how do you go to market and what ways do you use to go to market, right? So I think, of course, initially you have to start with research, understanding your customer, identify what the customer wants. I think this is very important, especially when you're about to release when you're working on your solution. So once you've identified the customer and you know how to get to them, you, of course, that is now a part of the strategy that you use to go to market. You've already identified your customer, you've done your research, you've identified the customer, now you give them the product in the way that will work for them. Mainly in Kenya, we struggle because sometimes we as innovators, we come up with solutions without consulting the customer. So, and that's why I think, even as Prof was saying in the morning, we need to start having design thinking in our strategies of go-to-market, whereby once you have your idea and before you go to production or go to making it a product, you make sure you have identified a unique customer need that you're solving for, you've understood what the customer wants, so that by the time you're doing a product and you're now launching it, it is going to be feasible and ideal for the customer. So yeah, I think that is a very good strategy, and we can work with design thinking as a foundation for go-to-market.
Thank you, Mark. I want to direct this question to Alfred. I know you're an innovator, you've researched, you've gone to school, and you've created products, you've gotten your products to the market, people are using your products, and you must have started from somewhere. So my question relates to commercialization, and I really want to know, and maybe my participants here to understand, what are the common commercialization challenges that businesses face in Kenya, and maybe how have you managed to overcome them and get your products to market?
Thank you, Dr. Shege. I think I can say it wasn't easy to start Alsea Bio. I remember when I came back from France, when I completed my studies, I was to go back and work. But during that time, the ISIS, attacked Saint-Denis in Paris. So my visa was cancelled. And so I opted to start my own business. And what came into my mind was Alsea Bio. So like I said, it was not easy because for you to start a business, you need capital. And I remember that time I didn't have enough capital. So what I did, I just had money to register the company and have money for the website development. So the biggest challenge is normally capital, starting capital. And also another challenge is, the bureaucracy, the lengthy procedure you go through for you to get the papers. Because once you get the certificate of incorporation and the KRA PIN, of course, you also need to get other permits, and you have to apply for them. And then, KEPS, getting license from Pharmacy and Poison Board, getting export license, like phytosanitary certificate, because I also export a few products to Europe and United States. So the main challenge is usually the capital and also sometimes the paperwork that you need for you to set up the business. And also, of course, you need money, capital to market your product. So, the challenges are usually now the capital, the documents, and even sometimes when you don't have technical support, is also another challenge. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know, Miss, there are some of us who have more questions for him. You can note it down, the same with the previous speakers, and then we'll open a session for you to ask them the questions. I'm back to the lawyer, the patent attorney. You've spoken to us a lot about IP, about different types of properties that we can protect. But most of us don't get to the point of protecting our ideas. We come up with very brilliant ideas and then we just stop at some point. So I need you to tell us, what are these challenges that businesses face in protecting their IPs in Kenya, and maybe how can they overcome them? Yes.
Thank you, Daktari. Yeah, thank you, Daktari. Very important question, and I think most people that consult me for assistance to protect, 80% give up. They don't reach to me. We don't sign the final agreement. And I think the most important challenge is lack of resources. Intellectual property rights was not really imposed, but originated from Europe, from the whites. And they had sense in that, because without it, we wouldn't be where we are now. Remember, compare the days of Adam and Eve. I think the only clothes they had was a banana fiber, a banana leaf or something. If they woke up today and they saw we were smartly dressed in shoes, they will wonder. But God did not create all this. These were done by men, and it's because of intellectual property rights. Now in Kenya, we fear patenting. We fear protecting our ideas because we think that you can just have an idea and move to the market, like our colleagues out there. I think most of them want to move to the market without even patenting. So the biggest challenge that people have in Kenya that I've realized is lack of awareness on how important protection is, because they don't have role models to compare. The role models we have, that those who have good patents and have made money, are foreigners. In Kenya, there are very few. You can name them. In my practice for the last, I was examiner for 10 years, then I went into practice for 10 years. Let me say 20 years. 3 products are in the market, but I've done, I think, 80 to 70 patents. 3 are in the market. One is, you have reached Fred Otsongo. Otsongo is a Luya name, which means, I think most of us have heard that. Yeah, so that was a breakthrough. Then there is one on donations, which is coming up very soon. You must have seen it in the, where every time you make a call, a shilling is taken for desertification, for hunger, and all that. Now, the second biggest challenge, apart from ignorance, is lack of enough money to pay the lawyers. You know, we are not expensive, but a patent is $1,500 for you to get a certificate. So that's like $150,000, something like that. So most Kenyans lack that kind of money. So because of lack of the resource, they shy away from patenting. Now, number 3 is how to manipulate the certificate you have, convert that into business. And we have seen, I think I had presented the options of licensing and all that, which require, again, a lawyer to come back and draw an agreement with you, which require an industry to come and sit with you. Unfortunately, the big industries in Kenya do not believe that Kenyans can innovate. I think that's the truth. Try today to knock to an Asian factory and say, I have a very good idea, can we work together? Most likely the security person will not open the gate for you. Because they say, who are you? You, an African, a black man, what can you innovate? So that kind of lack of a framework, a business policy or a government framework that can create confidence in the industry about the innovators. So ignorance, lack of resources, and lack of incentives from the government, I think. Those are main ones that I've seen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Fred, and thank you, panelists, for really answering my questions. And I believe the participants, those who are following us online and also those who are here physically, you're learning a lot from this. Now, Sabrina, you're in security, and you know, privacy now has become a business asset. It's no longer just a compliance issue. And I just want you to tell us, what is the role of privacy, or what role does privacy play in the digital age, especially with relation to businesses? Yeah.
So with relation to businesses, I know number one, there's an aspect of customer trust, right? So if you're willingly giving your data to a certain company, you're giving your PII data, you're giving your name, you're giving your ID, you're giving your phone number, and then after a while, you hear that your data has been found maybe on the darknet. The other day, I think we saw data for the Nairobi Expressway was found on the darknet. We've seen Naivas also undergo a data breach. We've seen several government agencies also undergo data breaches. So what that says to you as a customer is, do I really trust this organization, right? So for me, for example, for the Nairobi Expressway, when I heard that the data has been found on the darknet, I literally just went to look for, my name and my number to see if it was there. But now, moving forward, I'm considering, do I really need to use this expressway anymore? Or do I, just stay in traffic, because I don't want my data to be out there being used by hackers. So for businesses, there's an aspect of trust. And then on top of that, there's now the loyalty that comes from the customers. The more trust that businesses have, from a data privacy perspective, the more loyal they will be to you, right? So, okay, I will use me myself as an example. There's browsers that I do not use, for example, Google, because I will go on Google, search something, and then go on Instagram, and then I see ads, or vice versa. I'll go on Instagram, search something. Now when I go to Google, that's all I see, right? So I do not trust probably Google as a company, or I do not trust one of their products. So I'll opt to use a browser that, guarantees my safety, right? So I will say for businesses, I think the biggest thing is there's an aspect of customer trust, yeah.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Maybe I'll go back to Akili before I get to Mark and finally Alfred, then we get to the participants. And I'm interested so much in businesses that want to get into the international market. And with relation to intellectual property, Bwana Fred, I want you to tell us, how can businesses protect their intellectual property, especially when entering into international markets?
Okay, thank you. I know I skipped that during my presentation, and it's good you've brought it up. The intellectual property is territorial. It's within a country where the law applies. If you have your patent in Kenya, it applies in Kenya alone. So if you want to sell your idea in Uganda, you need another patent in Uganda. So there is an international system of protecting the idea, the patent, trademark, and copyright that exist at Geneva. So for the patent, we have what we call Patent Cooperation Treaty, where you take one application, then you file through your local patent office internationally. So just one application, and you cover about 154 countries. So you have US, China, and all with one application. But this is an application, and it's costing about 5,000 US dollars. So that's a bit expensive, but it's a good one because it covers the whole world as an application. So immediately you finish with the process of application, now you enter each region or the countries you want, because maybe you may not want all 154. So it is possible for the patent, we can see that you can do an international filing. And after you do that, you choose which countries to go and collect the certificate for the patent. Trademark, the same, done in Geneva with one application, you cover the whole world. So you pay a little bit more, but you cover the whole world. The danger is you need a lawyer in those countries again. You need somebody like Fred. So it becomes a bit costly. For an SME, again, not very possible. But for multinational, that's what they use. That's why you get their products in Kenya. Samsung, the former Nokia. It's in Kenya, and the same copy is all over the world. So it is possible to protect yourself internationally. It's one that is a little bit expensive. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Akili. And maybe back to Mark again. About business development, innovations, what do you have to tell a young first year or second year student or a faculty member who's just focused on publications? How can they get into innovations, and how can they create business products from their wealth of learning experience?
Thank you for that. So for anybody who wants to get into that field, I think, especially in the university, I think, of course, is to get in touch with the faculties that handles such programs, the innovation programs, so that they can be able to help you, because there is the IP guidance that you will get from them. You'll be able to register and patent your innovation with them. And then now you can transform from just a research paper into something that is can be, controlled and governed. And through that, once you ideate and your idea is even going to prototype stage, they're able to help you with commercialization. And the IP companies and, help you to get into now the space of now licensing your product, getting, your trademarks and your logos, everything in place. And that office will now be able to help you to go to commercialization, get sponsorship, get funding, even from other organizations that provide funding and donor funding. And that is the ideal way of moving from just research and unknown to something that will be out there in the market. Of course, once you have all this in place, it can now help you get into negotiations whereby you can now look for sponsorship from commercial sponsors, like companies like the industries that exist based on the idea, because now you have a way of signing, for example, NDAs or confidentiality documents, and you have a way of tracking. You have a lawyers team that is supporting you, backed by the institution that you have registered with. So of course, register with the institution, maybe the university or the registration bodies that we have in Kenya, get your research into now a formal document, and then you can be able to execute from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. And finally, to Alfred, you're in a very interesting field, and you've managed to remain relevant. And I just want to understand, how do you manage to adapt to the changing landscape of business, based again on the kind of the kind of raw materials you access and the kind of products you're creating, and how do you manage to reach to the current age of guys who consume your products at this time?
That's a good question, Daktari. I think, for example, what I'm doing right now, it's something I had in mind when I was in France, and even when I came back. And because I've already realized there's a lot of resources in Africa, just lying idle at our backyard. And so for me, I think there's still more to be done. There's a lot to come. And I think also the opportunity I got to France or Europe has also enabled to help me a lot, because it has opened up my eyes. And all the time, sometimes when I'm back in the north, especially in the village, what I do mostly is to think how I can do value addition with all the kind of resources that I come across. And I think there's still a huge opportunity for us. And I think there's more yet to come.
Thank you so much, Alfred. And please clap for the panelists. And a lot of learning happening here. And I want now to open the last few minutes remaining to the participants. If there's anybody with a question, I can see Dr. Zach, I can see Dr. Nzomo, and a number of us who are here. Anybody with a question? I think there's one there. Anybody else? Dr. Nzomo, I think, yes.
I have one.
Oh, yeah.
Let me start because I'm here. To Alfred. When you are introducing yourself, I heard you talk of, is it Wisdom Keeper or something?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Kindly expound on that.
Yeah, I remember when I introduced myself, I said I'm a traditional healer and a wisdom keeper. So other than, whatever I'm doing, especially on indigenous herbs, I'm also into Rendile culture. So the wisdom keeper comes in the aspect of culture. So if you ask me anything about Rendile culture, I'll take you through.
Culture could be different from wisdom.
Yeah, but the thing is, whatever I'm doing, I know I have the science background, but what I'm doing right now is focused on indigenous knowledge.
You also studied in France.
In France, yes.
Were your studies connected to what you do nowadays?
Yes, absolutely. I got the indigenous knowledge from my culture. But when I moved to France is when I realized there's more I can do or do value addition on whatever that we have. I mean, the resources that we have.
Sorry, I'm not becoming personal, eh?
Yeah.
I just want to know you. You went to France. Did you study IT, mathematics, biology, something of the sort? Law?
I went to study microbiology.
Microbiology.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Based on algae.
And it is the same that you're using now for
Absolutely.
traditional medicine?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll encourage Dr. Amara to visit your exhibition booth. I think he has not visited your stand. It's just outside the door.
Immediately I come out of this place, I'm going straight there.
Yes, yes. Thank you. You created. Please clap for our MC. He must have been so busy here. Yeye ni mtu wa PE. Ama inaitwa aje siku hizi?
PE, Physical and Health Education and Sports Science.
And he did a PhD, so yeye ni a doctor of PE.
Philosophy in Physical Health Education and Sports
and
Science.
sports science. Wonderful. Clap for that, Daktari. And I like the interest that this is creating amongst ourselves. Personally, I have a computer science background, but I'm liking what my friend here is doing and also what my other colleagues have done. I think there were 2 hands up there.
Okay, I do have a mic, so I may pose my question.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Silas.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question to the panelists, I may have come in late, and so I'm so sorry if I'm going to ask a question that has already been asked. My question is, I encounter many youths who have good ideas, but now there is a leap between, and you are a good example, a leap between an idea and actualizing it. I've gone to some of the booths here, and I've interacted with some, but I wonder how can that be operational? How can that idea, because you need a capital. No matter how good your idea is, you need a capital. So how are you going, how can you kind of advise, or what can you tell those who have the idea but not a capital? Innovation is not an easy thing. It is a very cumbersome, and it's only for the few. So any advice for a soul who is trying to get into where you are with an idea only?
Can I take it back to Alfred again?
Okay, that's a good question, sir. I think what I can say is when you look at our student in university, for example, there is this mentality where they think once they are done with their studies, they will be absorbed by the government or NGOs. So first of all, they need to change that mentality. They don't have to rely on government to get jobs or NGOs. And again, sometimes you find a bright student with good ideas, but with no capital. The best way I can answer that is that, doors can only be open if you knock them. So they get to knock the doors. And also, they can try to build a relationship with people who are already in business. See how they can strike a deal one way or another, so that at least they can be brought on board so that they can actually also come into the business life.
Thank you, Alfred. Yes, Fred.
Let me give you a practical example that I went through as a person, because you remember I'm saying I'm a practicing patent attorney. Most of you have not had any patent attorney in Kenya, isn't it? So my service, an innovative service. And I started with a small loan, but this is practical. And thanks to Mshwari and Itala. You see, so my idea was I have skills to draft patents for people, and I realized in every innovation, people don't have patents. So I said, come on, can I start patent drafting for people and filing for them? So I saw a model in the US, somebody had a similar company, so I just copied. But I didn't have money, just like you. My salary was all committed. You remember those people who earn money, the wife knows, and therefore house, you pay rent, you pay school fees, then you pay for your mom, your dad, and your brothers, isn't it? So it's finished. You can't use that for business. So I took 100,000 shillings and divided into two. I roll out M-Pesa, Mshwari, isn't it? You remember you put 5,000, when you pay back, it goes up. So it grew to 40,000 within 2 months. And Tala, the same, 5,000. Then you pay after 2 days, so you are a good payer. Oh, it doubles. Within the next week, you pay again. The following day, you pay, so they think you are a big business person, of course. So it grew to 60. So you know, 40 and 60, that's 100. That was enough money to roll. So I took once, then I paid rent, 25,000, admin, 10,000, and then the remaining, I did free trademarks for a few people and told them, pay me at the end of the month. So they were so happy, and they said, oh, so you can do free initially and we pay you later. Fine. So they brought more. And I continued borrowing from Mshwari and paying back without using my salary. 40,000, you pay rent 25, you pay the lady 10. So you still remain with something small for transport. And Mshwari, Tala is giving you 60. So you know, you pay back, but again you keep borrowing. So until 2 years ago, I was borrowing and paying. But I think even now I have good record with them. I can still go and pay, borrow 60 and pay. So money, I know, is an issue, but don't shy away from borrowing from anyone. You can borrow from a friend. There is now free money with Mshwari. I don't know whether Hustler can work.
Hustler Fund.
Yeah, Hustler Fund, but I don't know whether it can multiply the way Mshwari does and Tala. So with small money, you can build a company. Now, my firm is a big brand, and I work for big companies, NGOs, for patenting, innovation, and all that. So that is practical, yeah.
Interesting. Now you're clapping for the first time. I'm impressed. Mark, do you have anything to add on that?
Just a little, but I think that is a very good example of how to start small and grow your funding. And of course, for those who are students and for those of us, I think there are institutions out there that you can interact with and register with, because I think, again, it's very important to register your idea, because if you just speak about it without registering, that's how you get to lose it. Or you get to, somebody goes ahead and jumps the gun, and, you find out that somebody has registered and takes over. So I think using the institutions that you have, like the university, I think it's around 1,500 or something, which you can easily get to register with them, and many other institutions out there. And as you interact with the institutions, you also create a connection. So you get to know about other innovators, you get to share ideas, and that's how you get to know, like, how to get funding, like our Akili is saying. And that's how you know how to apply for donor funds, how to apply for sponsorships. And as long as your idea is initially protected, you can now, be able to be sure that as you're investing in your idea, you're going to get a return at the end of the day. And of course, just to also add, we have venture capitalists or, venture, what do you call it?
Venture capital.
Angel investors, yes,
Yes,
who
angel investors.
looking for opportunities to
invest.
to sponsor. So with that institution or with those connections that you interact with, that's how you are able to engage them, and you're able to engage them confidently because you have some documentation that you can show it's your original idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark and Fred. Yes, those are very good points, especially when you want to start off, maybe you have no money. There are different, pathways that you can take. You could get to a venture capitalist. For young students, you can participate in hackathons or competitions that you're rewarded some small amount of money to invest in your idea. And it's possible to grow to higher levels based on the experiences from our very experienced entrepreneurs here. It's almost 5:30, so we are coming to a close. I don't know if there's anyone who feels like he has been locked out and had a very burning question from the crowd. All right, so if there's none, I think we can bring this panel to an end. Let's appreciate our panelists with a big round of applause for availing themselves. Thank you so much, Fred. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Alfred. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We've come to an end of the panel. Back to you, MC. We can take it.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Thank you so much, Alfred, Sabrina, Mark, and Wakili Otsongo. I think I've gotten that name correct. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's presentations. Remember, we started by having the official opening. Tomorrow is the last day, and the last day as, the summary of all that we have been having since yesterday through today to tomorrow. Come early, bring a friend, and if you miss out tomorrow, then we can only meet in 2025. So for you to be safe, be here 8:30 a.m. and book your seat. May God bless you. But before we go, I would like one of the ushers to pray for us.